We make a start because we're a little bit past time, but I like to think of us as a small but elite group. We weren't sure how many we were going to get today. This is the Post-16 Education, Leadership and Management Research Interest Group session. We've got myself and Abdullah here, and Ali Coleman, who's our third co-convener, is online. We're hoping she can hear us, and we've also got a colleague online as well, so I hope they can hear us as well.
We ask Ali to introduce.
Yeah, Ali, do you want to say hello?
Hello everyone, and yes, I can hear perfectly well, so thank you so much.
Brilliant. Yeah, we are recording the session and we are hoping to put it onto the website, but we are only recording the screen, so we don't have to worry about our hair and makeup, do we? So what we're going to do in the next hour is really a couple of introductions. We've pretty much introduced ourselves. We're going to talk about our book proposal, which we are hopefully encouraging people to contribute to. And then we're going to look forward as a rig. So just as a sort of brief introduction, these are the three of us. I don't really think we need to say anything, but we've all got various roles. We've all got various research interests sitting within the Post-16 curriculum, and you know, the leadership of that, and it spans a whole variety of different areas. Traditionally within the UK, when we think of Post-16 education, we think of further education and higher education, but within that we've got work-based learning, we've got sort of employer-led programs, we've got a whole variety of different aspects, and we're hoping that as time goes by we'll integrate that more with an international flavour as well. So we're hoping to do that, but I think the main reason we're here is to think of the book title and the book proposal that we are putting forward. For those of you who don't know, we've been approached as BELMAS by the
just somebody who wants to admit, wants to come in.
Yep, let anybody in. We'll let anybody.
Yeah, you carry on. Yeah,
we're not. So the trying to think of his name. Myers Education Publishing, I can't think of his first name, I should know it, are looking to produce a book series with BELMAS, looking at issues around educational leadership, with a key target audience being really doctoral students. But of course, there's wider scope for some of the stuff we're doing around education leadership. And each of the rigs were approached to see if they wanted to contribute a book. Myself, Ali and Abdullah met, and we decided, yes, we did. But we didn't want it to be a book by us. We wanted it to be a book by the rig, by the people who make up the rig. We are the co-conveners, but without the membership, we are not a rig. We're just three people. So we're looking for people to contribute to a book which has a working title at the moment. There is nothing that I'm going to say today that's set in stone. Okay, but at the moment we're thinking of a working book that is called Current Trends in Post-Compulsory Education, Leadership and Management, Policy and Practice Amid a Changing Landscape. So that is trying to encompass everything. And do you want to do the next slide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, the previous, that one. This one.
No, yeah, that one. So what we want to do is have a book that is pretty much an in-depth exploration of leadership and management within the wider sector. And we'll talk briefly about what the wider sector does include. And there's an idea. And what we want is we want to get as much as we can practitioner and academic perspectives. You know, I describe myself as a pracademic. Yeah, I'm in an academic institution, I have an academic role, but I have a background in education management. So I see myself very much in that space. And that's ideally what we want is it to have both. And this is what I mean by, yes, we're aiming at doctoral students, but we're also aiming at those doing as well, not just those researching. And what we want is to try and showcase some of the innovative thinking, some of the practical insight and research that actually demonstrates understanding of the sector. So we want to put it in the appropriate context. We're open to consultation on all aspects. We're not, as I say, we're not grounded. We're going to introduce you to 3 themes, but we're not solidly grounded in them. So if anybody wants to come back and say, how about a chapter on, we're open to those discussions. So we're now going to have a look at the 3 themes, and I think Ali is going to start off.
Yep. Okay, are you able to hear me okay? Is that all right for everyone?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So the first theme is a broad one.
Sorry, Ali, we can't hear you now.
We lost Ali.
I
keep telling people technology will never work.
Yeah. I think she's frozen. Yeah. Ali, let me just send her a message.
Oh, she's gone.
Yeah.
She'll come back.
Shall we go on to the next theme?
Yeah, we're going to the next one.
And then we'll come back.
We can always come back.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second theme, which is the one I'm looking at, is to focus on the practice of leading and developing teams. And again, this is such a vast sort of area. And initially, we're thinking 4 potentially areas, but again, others might think differently. So first of all, about managing organizational culture and change, leading and developing people, continuous professional development on complex organizations, reorganization and restructuring. So it's very much trying to think of what are the issues in how we or people lead within what are quite complex organizations. I mean, all organizations are complex, but I think if anybody was in my talk yesterday, the complexity of the further education sector in particular, with all the different levels, all the different types of courses, is quite a phenomenon, and no doubt part of the reason why there's so many issues within the sector. So it's how do we go about leading them and managing people? How do we go about developing them? How do we go about sort of improving performance through people?
Yeah. So I mean, so Alan, on that theme, if I were to submit an abstract, I would obviously from a global perspective, you might have different kinds of post-16 institutions, and it'd be very different from the way we think of further education in the UK. So we do include, for example, in the UK, the A-level colleges as well, sixth form colleges, but also adult education centers. So maybe much smaller. But so I mean, so in your countries, in your nations, I just wanted to, if you don't mind, a very quick question. What do you understand? How is it defined post-16 education? Is that does it include vocational education? Does it include adult and community education. So where are you from? Sorry.
So I'm from Japan. So in Japan, so the post-16 education is highly centralized, just only young people from 15 to 18 students, and there is no formalized adult education. Post-16 is not enough, and so they are left. So even so for example, so one Japanese student graduated junior high school. However, he or she doesn't choose to go to the high school. So he or she will live so long time. So there is no guarantee system for the he or her to go to the post-16 education. So they are left.
So based on what you said there, would you say if you're a leader or manager, you would be managing much smaller teams?
At high school? So
yeah, the examples you gave,
so to include the left adults.
Yeah. So if you have teaching staff, you have the middle managers, and then you have perhaps a departmental or school lead. It'll be quite interesting to see what challenges you hear when it's very centralized. So if that we kind of an idea we would really welcome to contribute to this sort of chapter. How does in Japan, for example, I mean, you may already have an idea, but I'm kind of thinking, how do you lead a team like that in a school like that?
So
yeah.
For example, so there is some online high school in Japan.
Online,
yes.
okay.
However, they do not have a specialized teams for the adult education, including immigrants or migrants in Japan.
Okay.
So I think it's just one idea.
Okay.
However, so I think it may be an attractive idea for the society of Japan.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. So do you want to? I mean, do you have an idea that could you may be interested in a different theme, or you may not even have an idea. But I was kind of thinking whether leading teams in the institutions that you know of, is that are there ideas that could be explored through perhaps a chapter or a different format?
No, I was thinking of the first thing.
Oh, okay, so we'll see what
we'll come back to that. Doesn't if not, we can talk about it.
Because these are well set in the school education. That is pre-16.
Okay.
But then the post-16 has a very different dynamics in India, and that is called university education. And adult education is a separate branch by itself.
So that's really good
under
point.
The university education. Also, vocational education is also separate. Though, and mostly it comes under, it starts with the new education policy. It starts with school education, pre-vocation, then vocation, and then at the university level also there is vocation. So it's a very new thought on restructuring the very vocational education now in terms of skills. And there is a skill framework of India and then things like that. So that's a very different thing that is coming up.
Yeah, so this book chapters we would cover all the three different types you mentioned.
In this it is I mean, these are very well set, and I have worked on these things in the school education. Almost all. We came up with a handbook for the country, and it is now a part of Government of India's policy and framework also.
Okay, so we go to the next one. So the third theme is the one that I'm sort of leading. So it's about the curriculum leadership and the practice. So here we're talking about perhaps designing, co-designing of lead curriculum, but also what are the complexities around in the workplace learning and the are there interactions taking place with, for example, employers in the co-designing of curriculum, and how does the leadership of that affect the curriculum, but also not just the design, the delivery of the curriculum, and who are the stakeholders active in the design and delivery, but also not necessarily directly active, but influencing the curriculum. So we do cover apprenticeships and the management of higher education curriculum, the whole idea of academic freedom, I think, will come in. If anybody wants to explore curriculum management and practice in higher education, a big topic these days is academic freedom. So that would come into this as well. But then if you look at the middle leadership, that's, how do they make, perhaps some people might see that as the implementing managers of curriculum, and perhaps facilitating communication between senior leaders in terms of curriculum changes. A really big drive in some universities in the UK these days is industrialization of the curriculum. So there may be in India or Japan or Scotland or other places where the curriculum is influenced in either higher education, but also, and then how that design is influenced, but not only design, the delivery of curriculum is influenced by various stakeholders. So when you trying to, it's not simply a manager or a team designing the curriculum and delivering it. They got to think about, I'm pretty sure, the bigger picture, the society, the policy. So what are the tensions, constraints, and also opportunities for design and redesign and co-design of curriculum and delivery. So these are kind of things we're thinking about. So are there any issues that arise in curriculum design from your experience, from your research, in terms of curriculum design, management, and delivery? In post-16.
So now in Japan, so post-16 sector's education and curriculum is changing to the project-based learning. Project meaning a lot of projects. For example, in vocational course, the project means collaborate with industrial sector, and in academic course, so project means collaborate with a scientist or social as a researcher of education policy, and so sometimes we collaborate with sociology. However, so our national curriculum has started as a project-based curriculum has started 5 years ago, and it's not well made. And so a lot of researchers is confused about the request from collaborate with a lot of high school.
So it's redefining, isn't it? Yes. What do you mean by project? And similar conversations are taking place in England as well. You know, what do you mean by industrialization, and what is the industry that you're supposed to engage with? So it could be, in engineering and science fields, it's very easy to see what they are, but if you are to engage with in a project in a social science field, so what does that curriculum mean in education? Who are the people, the social stakeholders you engage with? But then people say the education lecturers themselves are part of the industry. So if you engage with another department, the academics in another department, are you engaging with industry in that way? So the same way you redefine project, we are having conversations about what you mean by industry, and then what you sort of input goes into it.
It's interesting because in my host organization, I run a research group called People in Employment Settings, and my research is within education management, because at the end of the day, universities are education settings, sorry, and employment settings.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have to remember that educational institutions are organizations, they are industry.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, the way education is going, it is becoming more and more industry, sausage making factory. Shouldn't say that while I'm being recorded, though, should I?
We can remove that. Yeah.
Do you want to go back to the first one? It doesn't look like Ali's able to rejoin. Are you there, Ali? No, we lost her. So this is the one that is sort of more overarching in terms of understanding sort of the international agenda and understanding what's going on in different contexts. So going back to that idea of macro, meso and micro levels, you know, this is probably more the micro level one, although we are aware that it could slow down into the others. But this is the one where it would really be interesting to draw on those international comparisons. And there was a couple of ladies yesterday who I didn't get a chance to speak to in a session I was down in Harlech, or better known as the Sweatbox. Anyone's been in Harlech, the things don't work. The air conditioner isn't working there, so it gets quite warm. And one lady was from Oman, and the other lady was from, I want to say UAE, and they were talking about doing some work together. And I was thinking this would be ideal to give that international comparison about what's going on, because what we don't want is, we don't want a book that is UK centric. We want one that applies internationally for two reasons. I think it gives a better picture, it gives better ideas, but it also will be a better seller. And at the end of the day, none of us want to produce a book and write chapters that isn't going to get our work out there. So here it's about how do we understand and appreciate the wider context and the wider world, and how that sees this post-compulsory education. I think is a better name, which is why we've termed it post-compulsory rather than post-16.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Because 16 can be 14 or 18 in some other country.
I mean, to be honest, even the post-16 sector, the FE sector within the UK takes 14-year-olds. So it's not a good term. And we're going to be having a conversation about that. Do you want to add anything else on that?
Yeah, I think in terms of abstracts and submissions and chapters that you eventually rewrite, obviously some of you may be much more prolific writers, and we or some of you may be much more active in journal article publications and so on. So the message from Myers and MEP is that we want to write in for example, in a style that's accessible to the wider public, rather than very academic. So you may have very academic, evidence and data and so on, but the same data set can work with a different style of writing. So in some ways, many people would find that easier. My impression is that writing an abstract in a chapter is much easier to do than writing for a journal article. So I think in that sense, some of the ideas you already talked about can easily feature in a book like this, whether you call it post-16, post-compulsory. I mean, so did you say you're from Edinburgh?
Yeah. So I'm based at Heriot-Watt University.
Okay.
And so the particular interest I've got in the post-compulsory education pieces at the moment, Scotland is just about moving into year 3 of a brand new quality framework. So this is a regulatory framework, which is part of our devolved quality assurance, quality enhancement system. which for the first time ever brings together further education and universities are all now being addressed by and enhanced by one framework.
Right.
Which now means that the framework is co-owned by Quality Assurance Scotland and the College Development Network, CDN. And we're currently engaged in enhancement activity for the tertiary sector. So tertiary in this relationship means further education colleges and all the universities, which all told is about 50. And currently we are operating national, there are currently 7 national collaborative cross HE university projects with students and staff to lead out on enhancement projects that have meaning for the Scottish nation. I'd call it
ambitious,
almost, it's experimental because it's in going into year 3, 5-year cycle.
Okay.
So I'm leading out on one of the projects, which is about belonging and mattering in the tertiary sector. There's also a project which is needs assessment of faculty across Scotland related to the enhancement to meet the agenda of diverse learner journeys. So I'm thinking there are potentially people who'd feed into this, the whole staff development. From this, it's novel. I'd say it's fairly novel because every project is underpinned by equal number of students and staff. Doing collaborative enhancement work. Some are research, others are evaluation. It's quite interesting and novel, and speaking to the point you made about just presenting something that's maybe interesting globally, but also then we would find out maybe other places in the world are doing this anyway, making no assumptions.
And I think
so. It speaks to this one, and it speaks to the developing people one as well.
But I do think you hit the nail on the head. We think stuff we're doing is new and novel,
and we don't know.
And then you suddenly find out, as I've done in the conference here,
in the corridor, you find out.
Oh, you've done that. Oh, right.
Make no assumptions.
So,
I mean, what makes it novel, even if the idea is around, is the context specific implementation, isn't it?
That's always the novel bit is in this setting, isn't it? The rest could be happening else.
So in that 5-year project you mentioned, so is it overall really a quality assurance project, or is it more than that?
So there's one overarching new quality framework, which speaks to expectations around quality assurance. So we're now using the same standards to quality assure further colleges and universities. We're all operating to the same framework for the first time.
That's the kind of thing you're talking about.
So there's that vehicle, which now means when we have deep dive reviews, which happen every sort of 7 years, the panel that come to do the deep dive have members from colleges and universities. There'll be college students on the panel, there'll be university students.
It makes sense, doesn't it? Because when there's so many, for example, colleges delivering university level degrees, for example, and qualification, not even if they're not degrees, they're certificates and qualifications. So it makes sense to address that. But I mean, the QCF, right, is already there, the levels. But, level 4 to 7, but okay, level 3 and all that is there as well.
And that's the continuum. So in the Scottish context, it's the SCQF framework, which they all interrelate, don't they? But we've got that commonality, but now we're going to have this is a new experience.
Well, we've got we had a guy do one of our webinars last October, a guy called Steve Lambert at University of Chester, and one of the things he was talking about was the relationship with, I think it's London South Bank, are developing with schools and colleges, and is effectively creating a multiple academy trust under the banner of a university. you know, again, another
It's amazing,
experimental.
Yeah.
I mean, my individual
Yeah.
personal experience in my academic career can be seen as, I would say, some sort of collaboration between colleges and universities. Because so I worked before joining the HE sector. I worked for some 19 years in a college in Coventry, and then at the same time there was some sort of collaboration taking place between Warwick University and some colleges, and they sponsored the staff development, for example, doing postgrad courses, and through that, even though I didn't even express any interest, they offered me a chance to do a PhD, in ND. This was a few years ago. So that kind of stuff, that would be a staff development within the sector, the post-compulsory sector, where different types of institutions are working together within a particular region. So I don't know, there was a one-off thing, or there was that sort of thing was happening around the country at the time. So this particular opportunity came in 2011. So that was many years ago. Yeah. So perhaps in Japan, in India, and Scotland, there may be similar things happening for staff development. And I think perhaps one of the kind of a driver for that was to increase HE provision in FE. And then have kind of a collaborative effort to design programs, degrees within the FE sector. For example, level 4, 5, first year, second year courses in universities, and then kind of move on to university degrees at the university level. So that kind of thing was happening. I don't know if it still happens, but yeah, there may be similar things that can be discussed in terms of staff development. So
should we
yeah, so
forward a couple of slides?
Yeah, so that then we got the
This is the timeline. So we're hoping for abstracts by the 24th of July. We can extend that slightly if people need a bit longer, but we're only at the moment looking for 300 to 500 word abstracts, and there is a link on the BELMAS website for putting in the abstract. We put out a call about 3 weeks ago, and because of the conference, the call got sent out, but they lost a bit of putting it on the website, so that is going up next week. So all the links will be there. But we're looking for about 300 to 500 words. Ali, Abdullah and myself will then have a look at them, and we will get back to you by the 30th of September. The 30th, I'm emphasising when you write these slides, you just don't notice things, do you?
Yeah.
2026.
It's emphasising.
Yeah, put it down as emphasising.
Yeah.
And then our role will then be to submit to Myers between October and December. So we have some paperwork to do. And we are planning, depending on how quickly Myers can come back to us, and they have said they will come back to us, that we will then go out for full chapters of the chosen selection. And we're looking probably at about 10 chapters for the book. And each chapter to be between 4,000 and 6,000 words. So nothing too onerous, but we're hoping that we'll get a good quality range of topics. Ideally, not just, as I say, UK centric or just around a particular part of the sector. We want breadth as well as depth. Okay.
Yeah.
The mayors, the stall that is put up there.
Yeah. So BELMAS has signed a partnership agreement with them, including the production of a book series. So yeah.
May I ask a question about
Chris? That's his name, Chris Myers.
Chris. Hope this is Q&A came up.
Oh no, sorry. It's just
about authors. Obviously, I'm a BELMAS member. Does there need to be a BELMAS member affiliated with each?
Yeah, they need to understand that we will be published under the BELMAS book series.
Yeah, I understand. That's helpful too.
By Myers, but individuals do not need to be BELMAS members.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're driving it through the rigs partly as a means of doing it.
Yeah.
But if you've got colleagues who,
I think there
Right.
might be people that may be able to think, particularly that whole the faculty development project that's running, which is to assess and appraise the needs pan colleges, pan universities. That's a collaborative endeavour. I'm not leading that project, but there might well be an individual or two who would be interested.
and collaborative chapters would
That's-
an idea of what we're
Of
looking
course,
for.
yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. So we're then going to have a
Yeah.
few minutes Q&A. Not sure if
Yeah,
anybody.
I mean, I
would
think
chat to them.
about your point about collaborative chapters.
Yeah.
The other rig that I'm working on, the governance one, I've put in abstract. Well, the proposal is I need to be one of the coordinators, but also I'm hoping to write a chapter collaboratively with other people, and it makes things so much easier. So we divide the chapter into sections, and then the experts focus on that section. So the 3,000 to 4,000 becomes 1,000 words, and then the
Much more doable.
and the co-author, the lead author will then sort of make sense of the three, for example, 3 or 4 sections, and then coordinate how they make sense into a full chapter. So that definitely I think collaborative chapters are really good way of doing it.
Can I ask what different sort of types of chapters you're interested in, separate to the themes? So for that example, drawn on sort of maybe the concepts and models of approaches, empirical work, reflective pieces. What are the different types that you're open to?
We are pretty much at this stage open to everything, because we want the book to appeal. And we want it to be relevant to practitioners. And to doctoral students and to other academics, obviously. But we don't want a book that is just pure theory. And this is this. So that element of application and practice.
So even if you identify conceptual theoretical framework, the discussion should lead to how that could be applied to either understanding or practicing in the sector. So I mean, reflective pieces are really good because that's really practice oriented. But also, so even if you begin with a theoretical approach, then what the discussion would lead to would be very theory connected.
I think of it as a so what book.
So what?
What if? What's the what have I learned from doing that chapter, or how does that chapter relate to me? And we don't expect every chapter to relate to everybody. It just doesn't happen, does it?
It's a big area.
But we want people to pick it up and read a chapter, multiple chapters, and say, I've got use out of that.
So and the example of what's happening in Scotland, the policy drive, that can be quite interesting, because what does it mean to the future of curriculum, management, people, and so on. So
I don't know these people, so I'm not plugging them for any reason, but this is a book I'm reading at the moment called Rethinking Research Collaborations, and it is very much that. But there is one chapter.
Sounds like I should be reading.
There's one chapter that says academic mothers and the work-life balance. Now, there's elements of that where I'm thinking, I'm not an academic mother, but I'm assuming there will be some interesting things to take out of that. And then there's strategies to lead, coach, and survive in science. Well, my area isn't science; they are scientists, but there's some really good stuff coming out of it. And as I'm reading it, I'm thinking, so what? How does this apply to me? And it does.
I think Yeah, I think it's really exciting. I think,
Yeah.
especially at this time when
Yeah.
things are being looked at differently.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
definitely excited by it.
Yeah.
I needed some.
You get the whole Yeah, I get.
Oh, you found
I
sunspot.
sat there last time for that reason.
Well, let's open the curtains and then.
So how about you treat the case study in each chapter? For example, in Japan, so high school project based.
Yeah, you know, adding little mini cases within each chapter, if you've got the word, is definitely an idea. Of another book that I'm working on is very much that. There's a I don't think we're calling it a case study, but there is a practical application in the form of what we would think of as a case at the end of each
today
chapter.
you show us 3 themes.
Yeah.
So one chapter treat only one theme or include 3 themes?
No, the chapter can relate to just one.
Yeah.
We're just seeing the book in 3 sections.
Oh,
Each section 1 might have 4, section 2 and 3 might have 2 each, or section 1 might have 2, section 2 might have 4, section 3 might have 5. You never know. It depends on
The abstracts.
but we're trying to just create a little bit of organization rather than it just being a random chuck it together. Because I think governance have gone a bit broader, haven't they? And, so you've got a bit more.
Yeah.
Shall we call it?
Yeah, so it's just to very quickly Alan's point about global perspectives.
Yeah.
So even though for example, if you're submitting a chapter, your chapter might be on Japan, India, or Scotland, but then somebody who's reading the book has the agency to see the perspectives, and that's the global perspectives doesn't come necessarily from one chapter, but from the whole book. So don't feel that anybody who's wanting to propose it needs to be wholly comparative, but it can be within that nation, but the book itself will fulfill that purpose. Okay.
I think after the question and answer, I've got another few slides.
Okay, yeah.
So we've got a slide there.
Yeah.
Basically, what do you want from? I'll go back one.
Oh, the first, yeah.
What do you want from the rig? Now there is a Menti. But there's only few, so we're not going to do a Menti. So has anybody got any things where they're saying, you know what, I'd really like this rig to be doing X, Y, or Z? And I'll jot down some notes if that's okay.
Yeah, activities.
Yeah, because we sit there in our little
Forums,
meetings, don't we?
yeah.
Thinking, anybody got any ideas? Anybody got any topics that we want to find speakers on? Ali's working on one that we were hoping to do in April. Things haven't worked out, so it's now going to push back to September. But are there any topics or things that you would like to see the rig do?
So it could be activities, events, platforms, but also topics.
Yeah. One of the things I'm going to be speaking to Paul and Tony, who are the editors of MIE and Email, is about special issue. I haven't spoken to Abdullah and Ali yet, but one thing you will notice from the conference, one thing you'll notice from the journal is they are fantastic papers, fantastic presentation, but it is so schools centric. Yeah, you understand why. But one of my questions is, how can we do more? I'm an associate editor for the Journal of Further and Higher Education, and we get lots and lots of papers. Some of them which would be fantastic for email or MAE. Journal of Further and Journal of Further and Higher Education is a much broader journal, so it's not focusing on leadership and management. But as I say, there were articles that come through there where I think that would have been great for that journal or that. But obviously, I have a different role with them. So it is very much about thinking, you know, what else can we do? How can we get more out of the rig? How can we generate more presence, both within BELMAS broadly and also within the conference? Saying that, there has been a lot of papers on HE. I think I might have done the only paper aimed at FE. But that in itself is context, because there was a journal launched in, get me dates wrong here. I think it was launched in about 2009, called the British Journal of Higher Education and Further Education. It didn't even get to issue 1 because it put out a call to the FE environment for papers, and anybody who knows FE knows nobody's got any time to do research. They will tell you their ethos, their culture is not research, so nobody wrote anything, and the journal just flopped. But there is research needed, and there is people out there. I'm thinking of people on FD programs, DBA programs, who will do this.
So, I mean, some of the ideas have been floated in various rigs that I'm aware of. I mean, I don't know whether you are members of other rigs or whether you attend other rigs at BELMAS. Have been things like blogs and podcasts, you know, and we do have events, online events, don't we? Where you can submit an idea, you know, to the membership, to the event, to the seminar, or perhaps an interim findings from a particular project that you're doing. So we would like to see if we have any other ideas that we can have some sort of a regularity within the rig.
It really resonates the point you just made, or you're both making around. So my interest area is predominantly in leadership in universities, and so the thing that I find most enriching about BELMAS is listening to how people are talking about headship and middle leadership, and like the ways leadership's talked about, and because the dominance is schools. And then it's the freshness of that then connects for me about the conversations that we don't have in higher education about leadership. But then it just resonates for me, the points you've just made about colleagues in further education. And because now I've been exposed to all these colleagues I never had before in further education, and they're actually helping me understand how colleges are different from universities, because I don't go around thinking about that until now. I've had to think about that. And so one of the things that comes to my mind, which one of my critiques of the Scottish innovation is, although we had 1 year together, 90 of us, students and staff, distilling out enhancement projects collaboratively, because we didn't spend much time at all. What is a college and what is a university? And what's the overlap, and how and why are they different? And I wonder if there's some interesting unpicking to do about, there's more about us that's similar or different, and a dialogue about similarity, difference, and then the sort of the synergy, what we can learn from both together.
So we talk
I'm
about
learning lots
from
my amazing colleagues.
It's institutional identity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting, because I think the other thing is language. And language is completely different. I have a background in FE. That's where I grew up, but I've been in HE since 2011.
So you're almost bilingual.
I designed our chartered management degree apprenticeship back in 2015. Government's pulled the rug under that now, but that's a different issue. And then we designed started designing a police constable degree apprenticeship. And we were working with Humberside Police, and I wasn't involved, but the person who was couldn't get on with them because they were talking to them and they were talking a different language. And in the end, the dean of the school said, Alan, I want you to go in there. I want you to mediate. I want you to solve it. I want you to sort it. And I went in, and my first meeting I had with the training and development officer within Humberside Police, he started saying things and I'm sitting there nodding away and just, oh, let me explain that to you. No, I get it. I understand that completely. And he sort of looked at me and he was like, well, the other person hasn't got a clue. And I went, I'm ex-FE. The FE language and your language of training and development are the same language. Yeah, there'll be slightly nuances, but when you're talking about internal and external verification, and we're talking about internal and external moderation, they are slightly different, but I understand what the principles are about both. So there is that key language. And I think that.
And also in higher education or university education, the notion of leadership changes drastically from that of the school, and it is slippery as well. Very slippery. Whereas in school education, it is not slippery. It is positional, and then you also recognize leadership qualities among others. And make it as teams and things like that. But in higher education, a dean doesn't recognize vice chancellor as a leader in our, at least in our context, and the registrar is much lower to the dean, the registrar of university. And so though they're, for discussion's sake, workshop's sake, they are considered as leaders, but then.
So that's a really good discussion about leadership. What it is.
In fact, that is totally unexplored area in India. In which I want to now transit to higher education in the leadership domain.
I think that would be really good.
So what is leadership in higher education, in university education?
And also it's kind of the image and the status. Within the local teams you work with, as well as the society. And then, as you were saying earlier with me about centralized systems, then the leadership changes very much.
And now in a lot of private universities are coming up, and somebody who is not in the education sector, who can become a vice chancellor. And all the others are, that's what I was talking about. So the professors come under that vice chancellor who doesn't know education.
It's interesting because I worked for a guy, never managed to get on with him really, who became principal of a college, but he hadn't come through the academic route. He'd come through the student support, the student services route, not even student support, student services. And for the best part of 2 years, we couldn't understand some of his decisions. But, we know that senior managers who get promoted to that higher echelons, they have a lobotomy, don't they? And forget about teaching. But he never even taught. So it was, once we found that out, you go, I understand now. I understand some of his decisions. We are running short of time. You just want to click onto the
something around even just exploring different proposed leadership models, frameworks that are being proposed, advanced HE's framework for leading higher education. Interesting, bringing it alongside again high point, not to be UK centric, but that's getting pitched. And that's a global.
So really, it's really on one hand we have the topics, themes. On the other hand, the modes of the platforms are we using. So we have all these wonderful topics, but then how do we engage the reach on that through blogs?
It's encouraging to listen to saying it need not be UK centric, it has to be global. And this is a very encouraging point, because the diversity in the very understanding of systems and leadership is very different.
I think maybe even opportunities to have really short snapshots from members that come along. That snapshot of you know, what's floating your boat, what's your area of interest, whether it's sort of deep sort of practice reflection or empirical work or, you know, autoethnography or snapshot, you know.
Yeah.
I know recently colleagues have been doing GASTA presentations, which are only 5 minutes long, using the GASTA framework, which I've never heard of, but an Irish framework, you've heard of it, where you get, there's a bit of humour in there as well, but people get counted in a humorous way, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then they get counted out. Your time, you're going to time out. You may not want to use something like that, but a 5-minute.
I overshot the time actually in my presentation. I couldn't complete it because I was coming up with a very different approach to resilience.
So in terms of activities, for example, the conversations we've had in this room today, if it was recorded and turned into some sort of a podcast, that becomes you know, really wonderful thing. So we can have, so if you got any ideas that you would add to, if you could email us, and then we'll look into organizing them.
Okay. I was thinking of one more thing. Can we have this kind of discussion online regularly?
I
so
think
that you know,
like a lunch time, or well, we can't call it lunch if it's international, but I don't know. But let's say international collaboration of post-16, international discussions, so international chats.
It's just opening up space for each person to say just a little bit, it'll illuminate, and then people get the hooks about why don't we write a blog together? Why don't we?
That's exactly.
And that, can we just go to the next slide? We have run out of time. And this is me being given a selfish plug. I've got with a colleague, we've got a special issue. There were leaflets downstairs, things with my card on. Most of them have gone, which is fantastic. So that's really good. But I'm also associate editor for 4 journals there. And some of them will sit in the space we are interested in, particularly Journal of Further and Higher Education, Perspectives Policy and Practice in Higher Education. All of them have a free, in different cases, open access as well. Certainly the top one does, completely open access, completely free. The others depend on your university thing. And I'll just give you my cards.
Take a snapshot of that.
I eventually remembered to bring it. Oh, thank you.
Sorry. This is my
card. That's brilliant. Thank you.
It just makes a difference being together in a room, just having a bit of a bit of time to talk. And thanks so much.
I'm searching for my card. I don't know where it is placed.
Well, I managed to forget them every day until today.
That's great.
So thank you. So thank you for attending.
Thanks everybody. Thank you very much. So so if you want to make any kind of activities regular through this rig, please let us know. Then we can put some sort of effort into realizing that maybe online conversations, so, or even sharing, like you say, verbalizing a bit of work you're doing, and then
that'd be really helpful. Because I think there's a need for those conversations and the HE leadership, because I noticed even I was a member of SRHE, but they don't even have they've not got a special interest area in leadership in higher education. Maybe they do now, but they didn't. It's very interesting. Like, where are people having those conversations then? I don't know.
The same way as you said before, we talk about headships in schools. We should have vice chancellor discussions, you know, with the universities, and you know, all the issues around that role. So that will be very interesting, because